The old city clock tower struck midnight, its chimes echoing through the rain-slick streets of Eldridge. Inside the warm glow of the Daily Chronicle office, I, Jack Riley, was battling a deadline and a lukewarm cup of coffee. The police scanner on my desk crackled to life, a dispatcher's voice cutting through the static. All units, report of a disturbance at the Vandermeer estate. Possible breaking and entering. The Vandermeer estate, that was old money, the kind that usually kept its secrets locked tight behind iron gates. This was more than a routine B&E. I grabbed my trench coat and camera. This story had my name written all over it. By the time I arrived, the estate was a circus of flashing blue and red lights. Uniformed officers were securing the perimeter, their faces grim. I spotted a familiar, broad-shouldered figure standing under the grand portico, Detective Miles Corbin. Corbin was a man carved from granite and cynicism, with a knack for solving cases and a deep-seated distrust of reporters. "Riley," he grunted, not bothering to turn around. "Should have known you'd sniff this out. Don't get in the way. Just getting the lay of the land, Miles," I said, my camera already discreetly clicking. "What's the word?" "Vandermeer. Forget his keys." Corbin finally turned, his eyes narrowing. "Harrison Vandermeer is dead. Looks like he fell from the second-floor balcony." I followed Corbin inside. The grand foyer was a testament to wealth marble floors, soaring ceilings, and a massive, crystal chandelier that now casts an eerie light on the scene. Paramedics were wheeling a covered gurney out. A young woman, wrapped in a blanket and looking pale, was talking to a junior officer. "That's Amelia Vandermeer," Corbin muttered. "The victim's daughter. She's the one who found him." I watched her. Her eyes were wide with shock, but something else flickered there. Something I couldn't quite place. Fear. Or something else. The official story was shaping up to be a tragic accident. A wealthy recluse, a bit too much to drink, a slippery balcony rail. Case closed. But something felt off. Harrison Vandermeer wasn't a drinker, and he was famously cautious. The next morning, I was back at the Chronicle, sifting through old articles on the They were a dynasty built on shipping and steel, but the family's public profile had dwindled over the years. Harrison had become a recluse after his wife's death a decade ago. I found a small Society column piece from a few months back mentioning a fierce argument between Harrison and a man named Julian Croft, a real estate developer known for his aggressive tactics. Croft had been trying to buy a plot of land adjacent to the Vandermeer estate. Harrison had refused to sell. It was a long shot, but it was a threat. I decided to pay Mr. Croft a visit. His office was the polar opposite of the Vandermeer mansion, all chrome, glass, and sharp angles. Croft himself was smooth, impeccably dressed, and oozing a confidence that bordered on arrogance. When I mentioned Harrison Vandermeer, his smile didn't waver. "A terrible tragedy," he said, steepling his fingers. "Harrison was a stubborn man, but a man of principle. We had our business disagreements. Of course, he was holding up a very lucrative project for me. But murder, that's preposterous, Mr. Riley. I was at a charity gala all night. Dozens of witnesses. He had an alibi. A solid one. Another dead end. Frustrated, I drove back toward the Vandermeer estate. On a hunch, I stopped at a small, independent art gallery a few blocks away. The owner, a woman named Ms. Albright, was known to be a close friend of the late Mrs. Vandermeer. She was hesitant to talk at first, but when I mentioned my suspicion that Harrison's death wasn't an accident, she relented. "Harrison wasn't the monster the papers sometimes made him out to be," she said softly, dusting a small sculpture. "He was heartbroken. After Eleanor passed, he just shut himself away. But he adored Amelia. She was his world." She paused. "Lately, though, there had been tension. Amelia has a suit, a young man Harrison did not approve of. She didn't know his name, only that Amelia had been seeing him secretly. Así que su suitor. This was the piece I was missing. I called my contact at the city archives, a mousy fellow named Arthur who owed me a favor. I needed everything he could find on Amelia Vandermeer's social media. public records, anything. An urlater, Arthur called back, his voice buzzing with excitement. Jack, you're not going to believe this. Amelia's been posting on a private forum. Lots of pictures with a guy. His name is Leo. And get this, his last name is Croft. He's Julian Croft's son. The pieces clicked into place with a sickening thud. It wasn't about the land. It was about the inheritance. Julian Croft couldn't get the land, so he sent his son to get the girl. If Leo married Amelia, the Croft family would eventually control the entire Vandermeer fortune, including the land Julian so desperately wanted. But Harrison found out. He would have forbidden the relationship, threatened to disinherit Amelia, and in a moment of desperation, on that rainy night, a confrontation on the balcony had turned deadly. I called Detective Corbin. Miles, it's Jack. I know who did it, and it wasn't an accident. I laid it all out for him. Julian Croft's motive, Leo's secret relationship with Amelia, the fight Harrison must have had with his daughter and her boyfriend. There was a long silence on the other end of the line. Riley, how do you know all this? I'm a reporter, Miles. It's what I do. I could almost hear him shake his head. Bring Amelia and the boy, Leo, in for questioning, I urged. Check their phone records for the night of the murder. I bet you'll find they were both at the estate. The next day's headline in the Chronicle was mine. Vandermeer heir and boyfriend questioned at millionaire's death. The police had found incriminating text messages between Leo and Amelia. Panicking after Harrison's fall, they had confronted him together. He had threatened to cut Amelia off, and in the ensuing struggle, Harrison had gone over the railing. It wasn't a cold-blooded plan, but it wasn't an accident either. It was a tragedy born of greed and secrets. As I looked at the front page, the ink still fresh, I took a sip of my no-cold coffee. The city was quiet for now, but I knew it wouldn't be for long. Another story was always just a police scanner crackle away. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this story from the streets of Eldridge, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You never know what case Jack Riley will crack next. See you in the next one.